Hello fellow hobbyists, you're on Coral's shelf, and today we're gonna bash some brood for Turnip28. I've got some 3D printed models and bits, and I'm going to make some decent brood. We start with cutting hand, so we could replace it with a gun, cause everybody knows that guns are cool. Trimming some leftovers, so we could adjust it properly. And after that we're adjusting cannon, cause as I said, cannons are cool, and I'm making this brood for my great bombardment force. Trimming head, cannon and everything so we could match it properly. Well, it was not so much trimming, so I'm just adding some super glue, and after that adjusting this cannon on its place. After that I wanted to replace his head. I couldn't find this head till I cleaned up, and it finished in my... I forgot how it called, but never mind. So yeah, we're trimming head, and then doing some adjustments with our scalpel, model knife or something like that. Then we're cutting another head from another body, cause it's the way we do our models. Doing some trimming and adjusting. Even though I couldn't trim it properly, I still attached it on a super glue, cause in Turnip you can place some bushes, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong, but in the comments. So yeah, I'm just took some bushes and put some super glue, and now I have a hidden attachment place, and nobody knows that I trimmed it not properly. Same I am repeating with cannon, even though it fitted perfectly, cause, well, why not adding some bushes when you are making a Turnip28 model? And yeah, I will call it Turnip later. So I decided to cut his leg, cause nobody needs legs. I mean, everybody needs them, but not when you can grow some mutated limb. Mutated limb in the form of a turnip or something like that. So next footage is speeded up, cause I wanted to show you the whole process of making this leg from green stuff. I'm adding some sculpting with my model knife, cause I don't have modeling tools, and making some adjustments so it can look like a turnip or something like that. Maybe carrot. Well, we will paint it later and see what we will have. Also, I have some leftover green stuff and wings of a hussar. And always correct me if I'm wrong, English is not my native language. So I'm just putting them on this green stuff, and to be honest, it helps not in the best way that it could. So I waited for green stuff to become solid and added some super glue there too. Also added some bits on base, so base would look more completed. And after that we are adding our texture paste all over the model. Well, not all over the model, but in places that we think that there will be some rust, corrosion or something like that. Also I used it where I attached my Hussar rings, cause I don't really like how it looks like. And yeah, there are two ways to cover some problems with your model in a turnip. It's by adding bushes or texture paste. So now it looks like that. And I think that it's time to paint it. So I've started with Zenithal highlight, and now I'm adding some metal. I'm airbrushing metal cause, well, to be honest, I'm usually not airbrushing metal, but in that case I wanted to do it this way. So we'll see our undercoat, and yeah, in case if there is no proper coverage, you will hide it later, cause, well, again, we are making turnip model, we are painting turnip model, and it shouldn't look sharp like a Space Marine or something like that. So just making some dry brush and adding some bronze. Why I'm adding bronze? Cause, well, to be honest, knight in full silver armor, even if it will be vested or not, looks a little bit blank. So I added some bronze on his helmet and wings. Yeah, perhaps was a little too much. So now we are painting wings with black and red. Why I've decided to use these colors? Well, I don't really know, I just like them. My main army for Warhammer 40k is fully red, because that's how you paint Mars. Also, here we can see how our Zenithal primer helps to get all from this Games Workshop contrast paints. I want to try sometime later Army Painter, Quick Paints and other stuff, but now I have Games Workshop contrast, so why not? And now we're painting our turnip. I've decided to start with Guilliman's Flash. To be honest, I really like contrasts, and as you know, Zenithal priming helps to get everything from contrasts. After that I'm adding some Kislev Flash, and yeah, probably it looks too bright, but that's not an issue because we'll be shading all our model. And no, I don't have Army Painter Quick Shade, but I think for Turnip Army it's a proper solution. So, cause I said that this knight looks blank, I added some patterns on his shoulders, like this black checkers, and a white stripes on the other one. White looks, I think, too bright, but always remember that we are going to shade our model with, well, this mix of brown and yellow shade. I said it early, but we'll do it like next step or so. So yeah, as I mentioned earlier, like 15 seconds before, we are shading all of our model with Agrax and Sepia. Why we are doing this? Because we want to reach this antique metal look, and for this model, as for any models in a Turnip army, I want them to look like a little bit old, antique, as I said. So now we are going to add some weathering. I'm using Typhus Corrosion and putting it all places where we added our texture paste. First of all, because it will properly cover these places, and in other places where I decided that will be nice to have some corrosion. Also, that helps us to have this grim look. After that, I'm adding some Nihilakh Oxide, because bronze looked too new. And after that, I'm going to dry brush most part of this model with some rust. Again, I'm using Games Workshop, but you can use any paint you like, because it's our hobby. You can do anything you like, any way you like, and that's it. So I'm just dry brushing rust, mostly at places where I added texture paste and Typhus corrosion, and on some places that I think that will be properly rusted, so we'll have very wet model. That's a common thing in a turnip setting, and I've decided to add some blood, because why not? That's never enough weathering. And I'm adding it mostly on this leg, because, well, it's mutated limb, and I think that some mutations leads to injuries. And also in some places on armor, like on his fist, and just some places where I think that will look nicely. And the last step that we are going to make is properly highlight our metals, because they have antique look with rust and things like that, but you know that rust is like sometimes you just see metal. And now we have model like this. It looks nice from my point of view. Anything from yours. Subscribe to my channel and have a nice day. See you later.